Welcome to She Sells Radio and welcome to what is today? Day 6 of the Finish Strong Challenge. How exciting. How's it going? I love seeing on social media how you're checking off the challenge and doing the daily activities. So well done, well done, well done. And today is probably, I would say, one of my favorite topics, which is, well, I say that about a lot of things: money, abundance, time. Today is all about time and how to expand time. So anyway, with that, as you are looking at the rest of this year, if you're taking this challenge in real time, I'm curious, do you feel like you have a lot of time left to achieve your goals? Or do you feel like it's getting close? Does it feel like a shorter time frame? Just check in with yourself first and see. There's no right or wrong here. And, I did a training yesterday for my 10K club community, and it was all about time and time mastery. I don't like the term time management. You can't manage time. You can manage yourself, right? And we were talking about this, and there's so many nuances to time. And I used to be always, always, always overwhelmed, behind, feeling distracted. It was kind of like my story until I realized that maybe there was another way. And as I've studied this and studied with, number one, just very productive people who are high achievers who get a lot done, but I studied from some of them for a long time who also seem just still kind of like stressed and overwhelmed. And that's where I've really enjoyed studying more of the neuroscience behind accomplishment and the quantum physics behind it and how that works, and really learning that time is such a relative concept. And to me, that's created so much peace in my life. It's created so much more, honestly, more productivity, and not feeling like I'm always behind and rushing. But time truly is relative. We're talking today again about how do you expand time. And if that's a new concept for you, stay tuned, because it's one I use a lot, especially if I find that I am, from the outside looking in, short on time to accomplish something. I will literally kind of speak it. I sometimes I say it out loud, sometimes it's more to myself, but to, my higher power, to my unseen support, like, hey, I need you to expand the amount of time I have available and help collapse the amount of time it takes to get this done. But time is relative. And you've had this experience, I'm sure, where, how you have some days where it's like, it just flies. Things feel like they're flying by, and you look up and you're like, where did the day go? And oftentimes, I don't know about you, but for me, a lot of times on those days, I feel like, what did I get done? Those could be more of those types of days, or a day where it feels like things are moving kind of slow, but you're so focused, so present, getting things done, getting things accomplished. And it feels like that flow state, right? So it's really our focus and our energy that creates our experience of time. So this is something that I think is so important to remember, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in sales, we can get so caught up in calendar deadlines with things. I remember this was even last year. I was on a mentoring call with I was on a mastermind call with a mastermind I was a part of. And I remember saying something about like end of the month is coming up, and I was serious about hitting XYZ goal. And one of the women in there challenged me, and she said, what part of you was so attached to calendar deadlines? And it really shifted my perspective on time as well. So obviously, with this challenge, part of the intention is we are, we're creating something towards the end of this year, right? So we do have that in mind. Like, we are playing by the calendar to an extent. And it made me realize that there was a part of me, though, that was so attached to kind of traditional timeframes of how long things had to take, and things having to fall with it, like by the end of the month versus the next day into the next month, right? And a lot of that is kind of conditioning. I get it. If you work for another company, there's monthly goals, there's quarterly goals, they need to happen on the timeline, oftentimes for shareholders or for company reporting. I totally get it. I've got my own company annual, quarterly, monthly goals as well. But I think just really expanding our perception of time here and being a little more open to things not having to take as long as you think they do to achieve is really, really a big perspective shift. And that's what I want to invite you to do here is if there's any part of you that's saying there's, 7 weeks left in the year, and this goal, like there's no way this goal could happen by then. I want to invite you to really step out of kind of old school traditional thinking about time. And one of my favorite affirmations from Joe Dispenza that I use myself around time is, I live in no time and I create everything. I live in no time and I create everything. And that to me is really powerful because I don't know about you, but when I've been really connected to a goal, it's not something I did that brought it in. It's like I got really energetically aligned with the goal that I wanted to experience, the thing I wanted to experience in my life. And sometimes same day, boom, it was done. It happened. It didn't take a long time for it to come in. And so I want to just remind myself and invite you as well into that remembrance that things don't have to take a long time when you're connected to your goal. Okay. So let's talk about what that means. I'm going to talk with you about some ways that I personally expand time in my days. And so again, this is really about how can you create the result you want in less linear time? And then also how can you expand your experience of time throughout the day so you feel like you're productive, you feel like you're getting things done, you feel like you're focused, and you feel like, gosh, like I actually had the time to do what I needed to do today, which isn't always our experience, right? So the first thing, and I think the most important, is you have to first connect and align with the energy of what it is that you want. And I was sharing this with our 10K Club group members yesterday I'm taking them on like a 12-month journey right now through kind of these steps that I've seen are really the things that help a woman quantum leap her sales and her income. And it all starts from that place of alignment. So before we get into any tactical sales strategy, it's all about coming from that place of alignment where your goal is already done, where you feel as if it's already happened, where you feel energetically connected to it. And so there's a lot of different ways to do that. I've recorded a lot of content on that. I'm not going to go super deep into it today. But to me, a non-negotiable is your morning time, spending that time connecting with the vision, right? Feeling as if it's already done, seeing it already done, and being in that energy of it. And then from there throughout the day, being consciously aware of staying in the feeling state and in the thinking state of this is already done. That's how we align our energy with a future outcome that we desire and bring it to us. That's how the synchronicities happen. That's how the quantum leap happens. That's how you have the experience of, wow, where did that come from? Like, I thought this was going to take much longer. That's the most important part. That is 95% of the work. And I would tell you, start there. If you do nothing from today's challenge, other than that, do that. I promise you, I've seen it in my own life too many times. And look, I'm not perfect with this. I can fall back sometimes into the old mentality of like I've got to do all the things and go into action mode. And so I'm constantly reminding myself too, to come back to this. And typically sometimes it takes it feeling like things get hard to be like, oh my gosh, I went back into the old way of thinking, right? So it's a constant reminder that this is really how we create the outcome that we want. But when you're connected to your vision, when you are radiating out that signal that it's already done, you literally bend time and space and draw the event to you, which can look a lot of different ways. It can look like an unexpected prospect email you get, and they're like, hey, by the way, I'm ready to move forward on that thing. And you thought it was a Q1 thing for next year. It can look like an unexpected introduction that leads to one client who helps you hit your revenue goal for the rest of the year. It can look like feeling called to go to an event, or to connect with someone online that leads you to where you want to go. So all of those things, like, those are the synchronicities. That's how we know that we're connected and that we're tapped in, is that we start to get feedback in our outer world that what we're doing is working. But you've got to connect in the morning, and then you've got to stay connected to that feeling state throughout the day. And when you fall off the horse, you got to get back on. And it is worth it to take the time to do that. So that's the first step in expanding time. The second, I want you to give yourself fierce permission to tune out any distractions. And this is very present for me right now. It's something I am actively doing in my own life. And, we talked about it on earlier days of the challenge about clearing out distractions and, focusing in your energy. Literally, again, just trained on this yesterday with the women in my 10K club group. But, especially I think distractions happen at all levels, right? It doesn't really matter whether you're first starting off in your career, in your journey, or you've got a team that's reporting to you and you feel like they all need you throughout the day. This is something that I found myself doing over the past few weeks. And today I was like, no, like, I'm giving myself permission to not go into that mode, because we've got this incredible new team that I've hired, that just full of rock stars. They're amazing. And we all communicate on Slack throughout the day. And I found myself having my Slack open throughout the day. And, you get the little, like, I don't have notifications pop up on my computer, but I do get the little exclamation mark in the browser that's like, so-and-so sent you a message. And I would find myself feeling just drawn in to, like, immediately go try to help with whatever somebody needed. And that was my day, was like between client calls, between interviews, just Slack, like trying to answer questions, trying to take. And now, obviously, it is important to be communicative with your team. That's important. But I'm usually very good at setting boundaries on communication times. If you ever text me and you don't get a response for like a week, you know this, because I batch respond things. And again, I'm not saying that I am good at, like, I'm not saying that I'm a super responsive communicator always. I will not claim that, because I get stuck in feeling like I got to respond to everything right then. And then it's like you go down the rabbit trail, right? So I've done a good job of setting boundaries in many ways in my life in that way, but I hadn't done it on Slack. And so literally today I was like, you know what? I got to record 4 podcasts. We got these challenge episodes that need to come out this week. It's 9:40 in the morning. I haven't been on Slack. My team may or may not be concerned. If someone really needs me, they'll call me, but it's like, it's giving yourself that permission to say, where am I letting my attention get diverted? Because I just noticed, even over the past few weeks, I would complete a day and I would feel like there was this thing I really wanted to do, but I was getting caught up in reactive mode. And so give yourself the permission to really tune out distractions and look at what is your version of that in your life. What really works for me is scheduling block time in the day to go in and just batch respond to messages on all the platforms. I don't usually get to all of them. Like, I'll be so honest, if you track between social media inboxes and email inboxes, it's a lot. And I'm fortunate to have good team members who are getting trained up to manage all of those things, but it's still like, it's a lot, right? But I batch the time to respond to the most important things in there, and that helps. And then the third is being very clear. The third way to expand time, be very clear. What is today about? I don't know about you, but I'm imagining this is the case for you too. There's 300 things you could do today, right? There may be 300 things on your to-do list. it's not all meant to happen today. What is today about? And getting very clear and very specific and very focused on, 1 to maybe 3, 6 things max that today is about, and then giving yourself permission to rearrange as needed. And again, to clear out the distraction so that you can expand that time. So those are your 3 tips to expand time. Number 1, connect with what you want every morning. Come from that place of this is already done. Get in energetic alignment with it. Number 2, give yourself permission to tune out distractions. And then number 3, be very clear. What is today about? So this is your invitation for today's challenge. And again, I'm so excited. If you are already registered, beautiful, you know what to do. You're going to go complete today's challenge opportunity, which is looking at what is the distraction? Excuse me. No, what is the one thing I'm going to do to expand time? Maybe it's clearing out distractions. Maybe it's connecting with what you want in the mornings, right? Pick one out of what we talked about today and decide you're going to implement that. Okay. And start practicing that. Share on social that you did today's challenge. If you have not yet registered, you can go to ElyseArcher.com/challenge. You'll get some social graphics that you can use to share that you did the challenge for today. Tag me at Elyse Archer and use the hashtag #SheSellsChallenge when you do. And we're going to be doing some very, very cool prize drawings at the completion of this. We will be announcing those very soon. So stay tuned on that as well. So hope you enjoy day 6 of the challenge, and I will see you tomorrow for day 7.